I've been up and down, and I think all of you have too. You know, we've kind of lived it all. And I also picked it because there's a tender time in my life that song was really important to me. And every time I hear it, have you ever had a song that just kind of drops you to the heart, that just brings back these, memories? And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about living in the heart, really getting in touch with that place where the real you lives. Not this Pollyanna smile all the time, just happy, happy, but living, making your home your heart space. And to do that, of course, you've got to align your head and your heart. You've got to bring your mind and your head to it too. But the actual beingness of life happens when we're in our heart. And that song kind of puts me there, the one Daniel did last week. Robert sings songs, and it just, they touch me deeply. And it's up to us to find what touches each one of us so deeply that we can stay in that heart space. Today, we're talking about the pathways to the heart. How do we do that? How do we drop from the head to the heart? I talk about that a lot, that we need to live in our heart. I don't do it all the time, but I sure try. I think it's the best way to live. It's a undefended way to live. It's a raw experience of just being open to what life brings you, being open to even the pain of life. Just like what we're going through kind of with the church. It's like, it's okay, life hurts sometimes, and we don't pretend it doesn't. We step into our heart and say, we move forward, and we just do the best that we can. What we do is we want to stay in that heart space and get out of our head, because it's so easy to start thinking about things. And to start, it's so easy to miss our lives, I guess I'm trying to say. You understand? So easy to go through life and not even know what happened, to not experience, and live it so deeply. And that's what living in the heart is about being home there. It's about not putting on a suit of armor. And the truth is that most of us do. Most of us, I just read a book that said we have like 90 pounds of armor on us. And that's how we go through life. We go through life defended, afraid. We go through life, living with the fear of what might happen, what did happen. Most of it imagined. Most of it imagined. But the truth is that I know for my life, and I know for yours, that you don't want to miss the pain. Whitney Houston has a song, it goes, the ride with you is worth the fall. And that's how I always felt about my husband. It was like a big fall at the end, but man, the ride, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. And that's the way I feel about my life. The pain in my life was part of who I am. And I had to be in my heart to feel it. There's times when I wanted to cover up, and I did, and I was numb, and there's nothing worse than being numb in your life. Have you ever felt that way? So numb, where nothing mattered, there was no pain, because there was numbness. And it's the worst way to live. See, when you feel pain, you can come through it. You're getting in touch with who you are when you feel the pain and can love yourself through it and come out the other side. And that's what this whole idea of being able to live in this heart space, this essence of who we are, is about. It's about saying, life is really short, and I'm going to face it. I'm going to bring it on. I'm going to just face it, and I'm going to do the best I can do. I'm going to love beyond measure, even when it hurts, even when it hurts. I'm reading a book called Undefended Love, and it's incredible. And it's about opening your heart to every experience and being at home, living there. And why we want to do that? Why? Why live in the heart? Why go through the pain? And the truth is, it's because that's what our essential self, that's where we live. That's where God lives. That's where we live. But we forget. See, we think we're the armor, we think we're the pain. But when we can experience the love, because that's what's there, bottom line, this is about love. It's about God. It's the same thing. And most of us are so disconnected that we don't even know that we have that space within us. We go through so much pain in our life, and we go through so much head stuff that we forget that in the quiet times, and that's what we need to do as we sat through that beautiful meditation. I hope that you dropped to your heart and just felt it, because it's easy. You know, especially when we come together, sometimes in a church setting, and you're thinking about the next thing that lens is going to be over, you know, let's get this, let's get this, you know. But that you experience every piece, you know what I'm saying? That you just really connect with each thing. And let go of the thoughts in your head of what you're thinking and drop to that place, that incredible essence that we are. We get glimpses of our essence. You know, I know each of you, I've heard you, talk about the times when you feel the depth of who you are, but they're just glimpses. If we even could know our own wholeness, we would explode with love. We would just be so incredibly filled with joy because we have so much love inside of us, so much that we can't even touch it all. And when we touch that place in us, that joy, that essence that we are, I'll call it essence because I like that word, because I believe that's who we are. When we can really get there and we can feel it, we can bring it back out and become a different person. And that different person is what the author of this book calls the essential self. See, the essential self is the person you are that is attached to God, right? Sometimes our head isn't connected to God, I guess is the word. So we're either connected to God or we're not. God's always there, but are we connected or not? So our essential self is when we've touched that love inside and then we go out to the world and we act on it. Do you know who Martha Graham is? She was made a huge impact in modern dance. And I love this quote that she said because it touches my heart. She says that the life energy is translated through you into action because there is only one you and your expression is unique. If you block it, it will never exist again. It will be lost to the world. I want to talk about that for a minute. That means that you are unique. Each one of you is so unique. And when you step in to that God energy, into that essence we're talking about, and you bring it back out, your actions are different than anybody else's. And if you block it, the world will never know you. The world will never know the way you laugh, Pat. You know what I'm saying? And that's the deal, is that they will never know the gifts you have. So if we don't live in our heart, we're missing the boat. If we don't live in the heart, we miss the qualities that we were meant to live. Our essential self is that self that is connected to God, that is to do the work in the world, that is to live in the world. That's why we're here, to realize the depth of who we are and then bring it to our situations in life. And every situation, I say this all the time, that you're going through in your life right now is meant to be, so that you can bring this essential self to it, so that you can connect with that energy and really connect and bring it out into the situation. And when you do, the decisions that you make, they're intelligent. Way more intelligent they are if you think about it, because you're coming from presence. You're coming from presence. It touches my heart to see that each one of us, I mean, I was thinking about this last night, and I'm thinking about each one of you, and if you're not here, if you don't ever get it and you die not knowing it, your energy that could have been expressed in the world's gone. So it's a huge invitation, when you leave here, connect, live it, and then bring it out to the world and let somebody see your smile, let somebody see your laugh, let somebody see your artwork. Whatever it is you do, let everyone see it. Let everyone see your true identity, because that's what it is. That's your true identity. But what we've done is formed a cracked identity. I like this. I don't like it, but it's true. It's true about all of us. I used to say when I was a kid, oh, he's cracked. Did you ever use that word? So, he was cracked. Well, it's true. We have a cracked identity. We have a cracked identity. And what the author says about this is that there's 5 things that we have learned as children that have gone through our life, that it formed really early in our child development. And these are the 5 things that we've carried through life, and we carry them now. And it's, I am not enough. Think about which one or all of them are you. I'm not enough. I am unworthy. I am undeserving. I am flawed. I don't belong. And what happens is, she says, that we shape our personality around these wounds of our life. This is what our personality is. So sometimes it's all subconscious. I feel worthy. You know, you think you do, but then you draw these circumstances to you that make you feel unworthy. And that's how you find out. That's the cracked personality. So we relate then with each other and with the situations in our life as personality, as head, instead of our heart. Instead of dropping to our essence of who we really are, we're starting to relate as heads. Right? It's heads, talking heads. Talking heads. We use that a lot, haven't we? Talking heads. And the minute you drop to your heart, you're relating essence to essence. The minute you start to see, you see everybody differently. You see everyone differently. Ram Dass says, our problem is that we're holding on to our unworthiness. We're holding on to it. Thoreau says, what a man thinks of himself indicates his fate. So it's up to us to be able to drop down to our heart, to live in those qualities of our heart and watch our life bloom. And it will. Your life changes as you change, as you start to live there and practice there. Here's what the Buddha said. You can search throughout the entire universe for someone who is more deserving of your love and your affection than you are, and that person will not be found anywhere. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserves your love and your affection. If nobody else seems to want to give you love, give yourself love. It's important. It's who you are. So as we step into this essential self, this God self that we are, this essence that we are, we live a more intimate life. You know, we live a oneness with everything, with nature, with ourselves. I love the word intimate because what it really means in Latin, it came from inimus, and it means your deepest nature. So when we live intimately, we live closely connected to everyone and everything, raw, undefended, open. We live that way. How do we do it, you know? How do we default there? How do we, you know, get up every morning and feel that way? Truth is, it's a journey. But I'll tell you one thing. Did you know that God gave us 86,400 seconds in a day? So here's what we ask is, have we used one of them to say thank you? 86,400 seconds in a day. Say yesterday, did you say thank you one time? Thank you. Because the answer to what is the pathway to the heart, how do you drop to the heart? It's gratitude. It's thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the gift of whatever. Everything is a gift. Everything is a gift. The answer is gratitude. Meister Eckhart, 13th century mystic poet, said that the only prayer you ever say is thank you. That will suffice. The only prayer you ever say. And it's the expression of gratitude that holds all of our relationships and society together. It's essential to our survival. And I think we've talked about gratitude so much. We've talked about the benefits, health benefits, everything that it does for you. And what we know is that we have a natural capacity for gratitude. And when we practice it, it can become a way of life. But we have to practice it. We have to make the conscious choice. We have to decide what we're going to be grateful for. We have to decide, are we going to dwell on the problem, or are we going to dwell on what came up from it? I just got back from Vegas. I saw my ex-husband, who I hadn't seen for a long time. Actually, and I was a little bit nervous, you know, to see him and his wife, who they left me. Okay, they ran off together 25 years ago, right? So, and it was a painful time for me. It was painful, and lots of experiences and a lot of heart opening. And before I went, I was staying at a hotel, and I was with my kids, and I just dropped to my heart. I prayed. I got to the space of meditation before I went over there to actually see him, and I could honestly say that there was such a connection. I felt this like love for both of them, because she was my friend too before, and yeah, it gets complicated. But and at the time, I mean, you know, you got to go through it, right, to get to this point where I'm so spiritual now that I can love them all. But I can say that through time, through forgiveness, and through gratitude through that experience, my God, my life has just blossomed. And I thank God for that. And I was able to see that. And I was able to express it. And they both were so gracious and loving towards me. And it was the most, awesome experience. We had such a nice time. And I'm thinking, there was a time when I couldn't have done that, when I wasn't in my heart enough, I didn't know better. But when we know better, we do better. We make the conscious choice, no matter what's going on in our life, to make the choice, to ground yourself in the essence, so that your experience will be nothing but good. It can't be when you come from here. It just can't be. Gratitude is the same as grace. It emerges spontaneously inside when you make the choice. When you make the choice to do it, it becomes a habit of the heart, right? It becomes just a habit that you have. You get up and you're grateful. Somebody said the other day, there isn't a day that I don't go by that I'm not grateful for something. And that's conscious. But I say, not even a day, make it an hour. Every moment you think about it, look around and say what you're grateful for. It's a daily practice of keeping your heart wide open. See, we can't express gratitude if we have a closed heart. And many of us have had so many wounding experiences that our heart becomes closed. But when we can open our heart, we can express so much gratitude, so much love, so much wisdom, so much of every quality that God is. So how do we do that? How do we know, when? Trying to think back, and I'm looking at my life, and I'm saying, how do I know, what my heart feels? Because the truth is, you can't pretend it's not there, right? You can't just say, I want an open heart when you're wounded. You have to be able to look at your whole life, and you have to be able to see what's there and love it, right? See, that's how you do. You get through it. So what Angela's Arian will be working with her book in a class coming up soon on gratitude, and she says that we have 4 chambers of the heart. The 4 chambers of the heart are, it's full, it's strong, it's open, and it's clear. Okay? Full, strong, open, and it's clear. And she says that when we are full-hearted, our heart's just bursting with love. We're full. We're engaged in stuff. We're committed. We're fully engaged in something we love. When Judy and I are doing Common Ground and we're preparing this, I can tell that we're open-hearted. We're full-hearted. We are just engaged in it. We're loving it. So what is it in your life that brings you to that full heart, where you're overwhelmed with this incredible joy of what you're doing? Think about that, because it's important to know. She says a strong heart. A strong heart demonstrates courage. When have you demonstrated courage in your life when it was tough? I demonstrated courage when I met my ex-husband. I called upon the essence and I demonstrated courage. I had a strong heart. That's what that means. An open heart is when we can release, all of our attachments, and we have this incredible kindness and this compassion for people. It would be, maybe a homeless person on a street and going up to them and giving them a smile or money, whatever it is. That's what an open heart is. That's what an unattached person is. A clear heart expresses wisdom. When have you expressed wisdom? See, we have to know when we are doing it and give ourselves credit. I think that's important. I have a strong heart. I'm proud. I'm good. And we have to know when we are doing the opposite. When the 4 chambers of the heart is healthy, we can express gratitude. But when it's not healthy, we can't. So we have to know that we'll lapse back into these opposites of being not full-hearted. Have you ever been not full-hearted? You've been half-hearted? I mean, honestly, I was half-hearted when I needed to call my brother the other day, and I called him, and I didn't really want to. That wasn't a full-hearted call, and I knew it. So we do things half-heartedly. It's hard to express gratitude when you're in the half-hearted mode. So our job, see, then, is to look, I'm half-hearted right now. I'm not full. Drop into gratitude, do your meditation, whatever it is, until you come to that full place. When we don't have a strong heart, we have a weak heart. And a weak heart means that we need approval from everybody. We can't face reality. We can't do anything right. That's what we feel like. Doesn't mean we can't. An open heart turns to a closed heart. How many of you have known, I don't know, I know a lot of them, but none of them are in this room, of closed-hearted people. Closed-hearted people. People that are resentful, that blame, that are filled with anger. And they're all around us. They're our families. They're everywhere. And they're us too, because there's times when we're that way too. And the call is about knowing it. The call is about knowing when you're there And all of us know when we're not resonating with that full heart. We know that. And the job is to take a breath, and to feel the energy move down. You know, so, and I always say drop 18 inches from your head to your heart. And it's not easy to do, but the more you practice it, the more it works in your life. And when we do, we find this new depth in life. You know, we find that we don't live on the surface of life, that we live so incredibly deep. You know, that we see things differently, that we're not so distracted by our thoughts and by our feelings so much. You know, we can be with life and love our life. We can live deeply each moment. You know, last Sunday we had a gathering of our Year to Live class. 2 years ago we had a class. It was amazing. And we got together last Sunday. It was about 14 of us. And there was a question that was asked. And the question was, if this was your last day, and you knew that today was your last day, and you had all day left, and tomorrow you wouldn't wake up, and you'd be healthy, you would be fine, but it's your last day, what would you do and how would you feel? Boy, was that an emotional class. We went around that room, and we shared, and we cried, and we dropped to our heart, and everybody in there, wow, I give them so much credit, because everybody dropped to their heart, and they I think the common idea was that they wanted to feel the love with each person. They wanted to express it, and they wanted to feel it. So I went back home and I thought about what would that be like? Because I think it's important for us to know, because we don't know when the last day is going to be, do we? We don't know. And so if we live that way, deeply, we have no regrets. So I thought about my last day, and I thought about the people that I loved, and I thought about the census. And I thought, you know, I want to remember, and I would, this is what I would do, and I want you each to think about what you would do, because it's really important that I would remember, try to remember the faces of those I love. I would outline their little faces, my little grandkids, their noses. I would take their fingers and their toes and touch them. I would smell their little heads, you know. I would smell gardenias. I would listen, because you use your ears, I would listen to the birds sing. I love that sound in the morning. I would taste something, strawberries maybe, ice cream. Ice cream probably, I think ice cream maybe. But I would use every sense I have until it melted into me, knowing that would be my last day. Because that's how we experience life. It doesn't have to be our last day to live like that. You understand? That every day we should use our senses. We should go out, we should smell the roses. That's a cliche, but that's the truth. Smell the roses. We should tell people we love them. We should remember their eyes, their face. We should be present, we should be conscious. We should love, and we should come so deeply from our heart. So deeply from our heart. We should drop from thinking about everything to experiencing life. Because that's why we're here. That's why we're here, to experience our life. Not to watch it go by and then have these regrets of what we should have done. So that's my invitation to you, is to love so deeply, to drop to your heart, to love as deeply as you can, to be so conscious that you see and you hear and you smell and you feel and you touch life. And I think I'm done. Thank you.